So, how therapists get private pay clients. So, have you ever wondered how successful therapists fill their practice with cash paying clients? Now, one main problem that I see a lot of, therapists, including myself and my co-founder when we first got started, was that, you know, most people who are dependent on insurance feel trapped and underpaid. Now, when I first got started, we were basically trying to grow this thing off the ground because my neighbor, her name was Wendy. She had seen me like growing my accounting firm, and like I have three six-figure businesses, right? I have an accounting firm. I had my private practice that I basically co-founded with Wendy. She was a therapist. I was more of like the business head, the marketing head. Then I also have like my mentorship, and my coaching programs. Now, at the time, she was working at like a school and she was doing like therapy, and she had been trying to like basically start her own practice, but she was accepting like really, really, really low insurance, and it was just taking her so long because she wasn't very good at billing insurance, and she just wasn't making enough money to like leave her job. Right now, once we basically started working together, it took us about 7 months to get to about 10 grand a month, in terms of like courses and like therapy, like just sessions. Right, back at the time, we didn't really sell sessions when we were like successful. We sold packages and we sold like programs. So packages are like sessions sold in bulk, and packages are more of like it's more like coaching and like courses. So it's like courses that they can watch in their own time with like an element of like group kind of support. Now, yeah. Now, many of the people I've mentored over the years, because like we basically have helped out, therapists and psychologists and counselors get private pay clients and reach their financial goals so they can go on their own. But many of the people that I've like actually mentored, they're facing some of the following. And even before I go into that, like this video is for you if there's three main types of people this video is for. Number one, if you're a therapist who's like relying on insurance, like maybe you're exhausted by like low reimbursement rates, endless paperwork, and like slow payments. Or this is also for you if maybe you're a new private practice owner and like you're excited about being your own boss, but you're starting to realize that like getting clients is actually harder than what you expected. Or maybe you might even be a therapist and like maybe you've been in private practice for a little bit of time, but you just don't really feel that comfortable promoting yourself and your services. And you're kind of worried that, without insurance, you wouldn't be able to get any clients because you're afraid most people wouldn't pay out of pocket. Now, if you understand some of the stuff that we're going to be teaching inside this video today, you're going to be able to fill up your practice with clients that pay out of pocket. Now, many of the people I've mentored over the past 3 to 5 years have been experiencing the following. So, oftentimes, like they're very, very burned out from overbooking. Like, if you start seeing more than 25 clients a week just to make ends meet because you're like on insurance, that can be very, very, very fast path towards burning out. Also, financial instability, right? In a lot of cases, you could be living like month to month and hoping that insurance checks actually come through. I have a client who, when he was first getting started, he had some insurance claims that took about a year and a half for them to actually be approved. And like sometimes clients can disappear as soon as like the insurance stops covering their sessions. Sometimes also it's like, self-doubt. Like maybe you're wondering like would someone actually pay me $200, and why would they pay me $200 for a session when they can go see someone for like $20 with a, insurance copay, right? So it's like you can really do this thing. And I know that right now, like you might feel like, you've been working so hard that therapy is feeling more like a job these days than a passion. Maybe you're frustrated watching other people succeed and like seeing other therapists charging like a premium rate while, maybe you're still kind of in that beginner zone of trying to get your first set of like high, premium clients. Or maybe you're afraid to kind of raise your rates because you're worried that clients won't pay and you'll like lose a lot of business. Now, if you don't fix this, you're going to really feel a constant financial stress. You might end up burning out completely, and you might consider quitting your private practice. Okay. And then returning to your job or, agency or wherever you were before. So let's kind of focus on how to actually get private pay clients. So, number one, you want to start branding yourself as a premium provider. So, a lot of people, when they think about branding, they think about like logos and colors. When I think about branding, I'm thinking about what are the words, messages, and how long does a person consume my content or my literature before they ever reach out to me to want to work with me. Now, many therapists, they don't speak to their potential clients as if they're human, number one. They tend to kind of speak like therapists, right? They don't really speak like how a regular human would speak. And in a lot of cases, the literature is very, very bland and very kind of boring to like read and consume. So a lot of clients are not going to end up like watching, reading, or interacting with your literature. And then when you get them on the phone and they reach out to you, it's going to be a conversation based solely on how much do you charge. And that's where, like we kind of talked about earlier, you lose clients to people that are cheaper than you because if there is no branding in this person's mind of you versus someone else, then they're more than likely going to go with someone who would end up being cheaper than you. So when you learn how to have the right conversations, messages, sequences, piece of content, blog posts that people actually read, consume, and enjoy, you start to separate yourself as just like the main person who can help someone out. Now, that's a very foreign concept to some people because you're like, maybe you're feeling like, the stuff I talk about, or, I'm not that much better than this other therapist, or there are thousands of therapists that are better than me. Why would someone want to work with me? And that's okay. In a lot of cases, it's not necessarily that a person is better or more talented or more skilled, has more credentials. Oftentimes, the person who is the most well known is a person that's going to get the most clients. Now, blessedly for us, we can start separating ourselves from other people by learning how to utilize content. Now, one thing that you can do is that inside of your content, you can start making your niches more in tune with individuals that can afford to pay you higher price points. Now, what you might be thinking is like, Bryce, what do you mean? That feels like that's discriminating against people that maybe don't have as much, disposable income or maybe can't afford my services. Kind of, yes, but kind of no. The reason why is that in order for you to be able to help people out, you have to first help yourself out. Now, one thing that me and my partner did when we were first starting to find success in our practice was we started doing like sliding fee. So that let's just say that like maybe someone couldn't afford our services, we could either like downsell them into like maybe our course where they could go in like maybe for like a lower price, be able to go and like, learn from us on their own time, or we could offer them like sliding scale sessions that were a little bit, more accessible than our regular sessions because we had enough income coming in to where we didn't have to worry about if I let this person do the session for $25, that's going to take away income and time for me where I could work with someone that's going to pay me $200 per hour, right? So in the beginning, if you don't have any income coming in, you have to kind of make those challenging decisions to really focus on getting the people that are going to basically pay you the ability to be generous later, right? Even like look at this YouTube video that I'm doing right now. These YouTube videos, I'm not charging you for this. I'm telling you as much as I possibly can so you don't have to go through any of the mistakes that, I went through when I was starting my practice with my partner. But you may never do my mentorship program. You may never pay me, right? So it's like I have enough money to where it's like that's not really that important if you don't end up giving me excuse me, if you don't end up giving me money like right now, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now, it's not that big of a deal. But in the beginning, I couldn't do this, right? I needed to get income, right? Or else I would have to go back to my job and I couldn't do it. But in order to be generous, you have to first be very, very, very precise. And it's kind of unfortunately when you start becoming a business owner, you have to think more like a business owner and less like an artist or a person that really enjoys their craft in the beginning. Now, another thing that we can do is when you start building out content, really start learning how to create what's called thought leadership. So this is a mixture of educating um, patients and clients on why are they going through what they're going through? Why are they experiencing certain things they're experiencing? What are some different methodologies that they can use to cope with that even before they start working with you? How have you experienced this inside of your own life? It's all about learning how to write content, or even if you want to make videos we can talk about videos on YouTube, videos on TikTok, et cetera, right? But the, it's about learning how to help a person out so thoroughly before they ever come to you that the person just really sees you as the only option. Now, I'll give you an example. So one thing you can do is, let's say, like in step number one, we talked about branding ourselves as a premium provider, and we started talking about going after, more higher end kind of potential clients. Now, one thing you can do, right, when you're talking to these like people is you could start making articles, let's say, for example, on LinkedIn, where it's like why high achievers struggle with anxiety. Who do you think is going to really respond to that? It's going to be people that identify as high achievers, people that are struggling with anxiety, and maybe they have a business of some sort. They're trying to kind of scale to that next level. Now, if we can start kind of cracking that zone, if we can start cracking that through that basically niche, for lack of better words, it allows us to be able to really go and grab people that are really going to be committed, right? Committed to therapy and coaching with you. They're going to have the income to be able to pay you. Oftentimes, too, they can write this off as a business expense. So, in a lot of cases, like for a lot of business owners, at the end of the like year, come tax time, we have to write off like a bunch of different things. They're looking for things they can write off. Now, if you can basically show that, hey, if you do like some of these sessions, some of this stuff, and like you put in the work, right, you're not going to have quite as much anxiety. You're not going to have quite as much, let's say depression. You're not going to have quite as much of this, and it's going to allow you to be able to move through your business and move through like life in your zone more efficiently so you can make more money, your business can be more effective, you can employ more people, and you can really get more impact. That's going to cause them to want to reach out to you at a much higher price point and a much higher clip and a much higher rate. You won't have to be worried about begging people to pay your rates. You won't have to worry about people haggling for those rates also, because you're going to get someone that's much more committed and has a much more vested interest in doing therapy, right? Next thing is like learning how to network with the right people. So one thing that's really really cool is like learning how to leverage professional groups. So let's kind of continue our example. If we're going after, potential business owners as some of our clients, okay, well, where do business owners tend to spend their time? If you haven't thought about it, number one, business owners generally tend to go to networking events. So you can actually go and be connected to certain networking events, and that will give you in like just direct contact with people who potentially could become your clients in the future. Or they could refer you more of their business owner friends, right? That's a very very fast way to do it. Now, if you don't understand how to network, you don't really have any skill sets with interacting with people. I can definitely give you some more guidance on that. We cover that very extensively inside of our mentorship program. That's one of the marketing methodologies we utilize. We have a lot more, like we talk about content, different things like that. But I can definitely show you like where should we go networking wise, how should we go make the interaction, how should we go and like really make people feel comfortable with us and comfortable with like working with us. Cool. Now, very, very simple. Now, if you want some more help, maybe growing your psychotherapy practice, and maybe you've been trying to do this stuff on your own for a while, or you've been thinking about it, and maybe you're in your job right now, and you're like, if I had some more support, some more guidance, I understood how to do marketing to go and get private pay clients, or even insurance-based clients, or you feel that you need some help, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above, below the video, to book a call with me to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay. And just to summarize this, so in order to start getting private pay clients, number one, you're going to have to brand yourself as a premium provider. Number two, you're going to have to do marketing through authority based content that is driven out to people inside of your target market that generally can afford to pay you and have a vested interest in being successful with therapy. Number three, learning how to network strategically, right? Following the example, if you're inside of, targeting business owners as like your main client or your main patient clientele, right? Learning how to get around them and how to network very, very effectively so that you can help them go and create more impact inside the world. That is very, very simple way for you to go and get more clients who are going to pay you directly out of pocket. Okay? Hopefully learn something new. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll talk to you soon.